Hello and welcome to News Tonight on Rajya Sabha TV. I'm Aishwarya Kapoor and here are the latest headlines. PDP denies BJP's charges of unilaterally releasing separatist leader Masrat Alam in Jammu and Kashmir. Home Ministry seeks report over the release from the Mufti government. Nagaland remains tense as cops arrest 18 people in connection with lynching a rape accused in Dimapur. Fresh protests erupt in parts of the state amid tight vigil. China claims border dispute with India has been contained ahead of talks later this month, emphasizes on strengthening bilateral ties between the two nations. Malaysia and Australia vow to continue search for MH370 on its first anniversary since disappearance. Relatives hold memorial for the victims. And disappointment for Saina Nehwal. She loses the final of the All England Badminton Championship to Spain's Carolina Marin. Our top story, the sense of unease intensifies in the BJP-PDP alliance in Jammu and Kashmir over the release of separatist leader Masrat Alam and the Chief Minister's order to set free other jailed separatists as well. Now, state BJP leaders met in Jammu today, stressing that the common minimum program must be adhered to as the Home Ministry at the centre asked for a report. Here is more.
A day after he was released from jail, the man who stoked months of violence in the valley spends time with family. The PDP coming to power in Jammu and Kashmir meant good news for the likes of the Hurriyat's Masrat Alam, and he's ready to take his fight forward.
देखिए ये एक छोटी जेल से बड़ी जेल की मुंतकिली है, तो अब इस बात का इत्मीनान है कि बाहर आकर आप काम कर सकते हैं, मज़ाहमत कर सकते हैं, तो ये जो गुलामी की जंजीरें हैं उनको काटने के लिए आप जद्दोजहद कर सकते हैं. जहां तक हुकूमतों का सवाल है, हुकूमतें बदलने से हकीकत नहीं बदलती.
But there's a strong other side to the picture, the BJP-PDP alliance that has proved rickety even within the first week. BJP workers staged protests against the release as soon as Masrat walked free, threatening to step up the agitation in days to come. On Sunday, Jammu and Kashmir BJP MLAs met in Jammu to register strong protest with the government, insisting they were neither consulted nor had agreed to the release, asking the government to stick to the common minimum program.
ऐसे लोगों को आप बिना शर्त उनको छोड़ेंगे तो वो ऐसे ही बयानबाजी करेंगे, इसलिए भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सहमति नहीं है और ना ही भारतीय जनता पार्टी के साथ विचार विमर्श करने के बाद ये कदम उठाया गया है. भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने अपनी प्रतिक्रिया व्यक्त कर दी है और भारतीय जनता पार्टी अपने सहयोगी दल को भी अपना जो मत है वो उन तक पहुंचा देगी.
The PDP on its part has downplayed the criticism, justifying the release, saying that engaging all stakeholders was part of the common minimum program decided on between the two parties. The Congress finds more ammunition to attack the BJP-PDP alliance, with volleys both in the state and at the centre.
देखिए, बुनियादी सवाल ये है कि माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी को इस बात का जवाब देना चाहिए कि मसरत आलम एक राजनीतिक बंदी थे कि एक आतंकवादी थे. अगर वो राजनीतिक बंदी थे तो पाकिस्तान भी यही कहता है, तो फिर पाकिस्तान और हम में क्या फर्क हुआ अगर हम मसरत आलम को एक राजनीतिक बंदी समझते हैं.
It's almost been a controversy a day since the Mufti Muhammad Saeed government took oath on Wednesday. Saeed's remarks on Pakistan to his remarks on Afzal Guru and now this. The rocky road has far from ended yet. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha Television.
An update from Dimapur now. Well, Nagaland police has arrested at least 21 people in connection with the 5th of March lynching incident after going through the mobile video clippings, even as the protests against the killing continue to rock many parts of the state today. Now, protests against the lynching were reported from different parts of the state, including from Karimganj, where the body of the rape accused Saeed Sarifuddin Khan was brought yesterday. There is no evidence, however, that the officials at the Dimapur Central Prison were complicit in the mob breaking into the jail. Reports say that curfew is still in place in many areas, but some private vehicles are plying. A strict vigil is being maintained to prevent any untoward incident. Internet and text messages have been suspended. And on to news from the national capital, where AAP leader Yogendra Yadav called upon his party workers to end the infighting that has gone from bad to worse in recent days. A day after senior AAP leader Mayank Gandhi threatened to quit, Yadav said that workers should not lose faith in the party and its idea. Meanwhile, Manish Sisodia pleaded an end to the bickering over the national executive's decision to remove Yadav and Prashant Bhushan as well.
Despite his removal from the Aam Aadmi Party's Political Affairs Committee this week, Yogendra Yadav continues his efforts to calm the infighting within the party. On Sunday, he called upon party workers to put an end to voices of dissent over his removal. Yadav and Bhushan were voted out of the top decision-making wing of the party last Wednesday. The two leaders had questioned party chief Arvind Kejriwal's style of functioning.
मैंने दो अनुरोध किया है, सब कार्यकर्ताओं से मैंने अनुरोध किया है कि जो भी हो पार्टी में और इस विचार में आस्था नहीं छोड़नी है, आशा नहीं छोड़नी है और अपने साथियों से अनुरोध किया है कि बस अब और सवाल जवाब नहीं, बहुत हो गया, काम करना है। हम एक दूसरे से झगड़ने नहीं, इस देश में भ्रष्टाचार से झगड़ने आए हैं।
Yadav's reaction comes a day after another senior leader, Mayank Gandhi, threatened to quit the party. He accused a small group of party decision makers in Delhi were targeting him for decrying removal of Bhushan and Yadav. However, Kejriwal's close aide Manish Sisodia pleaded an end to the bickering over the national executive's decision.
जो हमारी नेशनल एग्जीक्यूटिव हुई थी, उसमें एक फैसला लिया गया था और उस फैसले के पीछे कोई तू-तू मैं नहीं करनी है, कोई एक दूसरे की चिचालेदारी नहीं करनी है, सब एक दूसरे का सम्मान करते हैं, सब एक दूसरे की इज्जत करते हैं। इसलिए हम सब लोगों ने एक रिजोल्यूशन लिया था कि हम इस फैसले के पीछे इसको तू-तू मैं को नहीं बढ़ावा देते हैं।
Meanwhile, Kejriwal is in Bengaluru, where he is undergoing treatment for chronic cough and high blood sugar. He is said to be responding well to the naturopathic treatment. He has chosen to remain silent after the removal of Bhushan and Yadav. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
All right, in news tonight, we'll take a very short break. But coming up ahead, the swine flu death toll crosses 1,300. More deaths reported from across the country. Stay with us for that and much more. Welcome back. After the break, let's move on in the bulletin now. Well, it is International Women's Day today. Extending wishes on the occasion, Prime Minister Narendra Modi hailed the indomitable courage of women while he regretted the instances of crimes against women, calling for an end to all forms of injustice against them. On a day dedicated the world over to the welfare of women, Prime Minister Narendra Modi stressed on denouncing violence against women. He announced the setting up of one-stop centres and mobile helplines for women in distress. These centres will provide assistance, legal advice and psychological counsel to women who face violence or abuse. The Prime Minister announced that government was also commencing a mobile helpline to enable women to dial 181 for access to counselling and referral services. The Prime Minister saluted the indomitable courage and outstanding achievements of women on International Women's Day and said that his government was committed to bringing a positive change in the lives of women through various schemes and initiatives. Politicians cutting across party lines reiterated the need to empower women in all sectors.
UN General Secretary Ban Ki-moon ने भी ये कहा है कि when we unleash the power of women, we can secure the future for all. यदि महिलाओं को अपनी शक्ति का प्रयोग करने की खुली आजादी दे दी जाए, तो पूरे समाज का, पूरे देश का और पूरे विश्व का भविष्य सुरक्षित किया जा सकता है.
President Pranab Mukherjee presented Stree Shakti and Nari Shakti Awards for 2014 at a function at Rashtrapati Bhavan. The President said that we should remind ourselves that the empowerment of women and their equality, liberty and dignity are not a distant goal of the women of our country.
It is only appropriate that we should remind ourselves that the empowerment of women and their equality, liberty and dignity are not a distant goal or fond aspirations of the women of our country. It is one of their sacred rights.
Meanwhile, car and bike rallies were held across various states. A 10-kilometer walk, Womanathon, was held in Chennai, Bangalore and Hyderabad to celebrate Women's Day. Delhi's Connaught Place also saw its weekly Rahagiri program focusing on gender parity and women's safety.
इन रैलीज के दौरान आप ये दिखाते हैं जैसे इस रैली का मेन मोटो है विमेन एम्पावरमेंट. सो हाउ women are coming up in all the fields is something that is being shown through these rallies basically.
चाहे औरत वर्किंग हो चाहे हाउसवाइफ, उसकी रिस्पेक्ट सबसे पहली चीज है कि रिस्पेक्ट होनी चाहिए, उसको इज्जत मिलनी चाहिए सोसाइटी में, घर में, हर जगह. और जो औरतों पे अत्याचार बढ़ता जा रहा है ये बिल्कुल भी नहीं होना चाहिए.
In Bangladesh and Hong Kong, women staged marches to demand more rights. The world over, functions are being held to celebrate the struggle and contribution of women in making society a better place. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV. And in other news, veteran journalist and author Vinod Mehta passed away today after a prolonged illness. He was 73. Mehta died of multi-organ failure at the All India Institute of Medical Sciences, where he was admitted. Born in Rawalpindi in 1942, Mehta was known for his bold journalism. He was the editor-in-chief of the Outlook magazine till February 2012. Prior to his stint with the Outlook, he had successfully launched the pioneer newspaper in Delhi nearly 3 decades back. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Vice President Mohammad Hamid Ansari offered their condolences to the family. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley, BJP veteran L.K. Advani, Congress President Sonia Gandhi and former Delhi Chief Minister Sheila Dikshit were among those present during his funeral today.
ये विनोद मेहता जी का एक अपना अलग अंदाज था. जब भी वो टेलीविजन पे आते थे तो ध्यान आकर्षित करने में बिल्कुल कामयाब रहते थे. उनके जो उनकी सोच होती थी वो उनकी सोच है, उनका विचार अपना विचार है, लेकिन इतने सालों से मतलब कम से कम 50 साल से अधिक वो जर्नलिज्म में रहे. एक तरह से आज का जो जर्नलिज्म है उसको पूरा उन्होंने संपूर्ण रूप से देखा. तो अपने आप में एक बहुत बड़ा व्यक्तित्व है इनका. और आज मेरे ख्याल से इसीलिए अलग अलग पहलुओं से, अलग अलग पार्टियों से सब लोग आज, अलग अलग अखबारों से सब लोग आज एकत्रित हो रहे हैं.
And more national stories and updates in Nationwide now. The death toll due to swine flu has reached 1,353 across the country after over 20 more victims fell prey to the virus since yesterday. The number of people affected by the virus is now close to 25,000. 19 more people have succumbed to swine flu in parts of Rajasthan. 8 more people died in Gujarat, taking the state's toll to 332 this year. Ajay Magan took charge as the Delhi Pradesh Congress Committee chief today. He was elevated to the post last week when Congress made readjustments to its party units in several states. The party put up a show of strength and unity as Makan's detractor and former Chief Minister Sheila Dikshit also turned up briefly at the function attended by almost all top state leaders. Right after taking charge, Makan rapped Aam Aadmi Party, accusing it of making false promises to the people of Delhi. Railway Minister Suresh Prabhu has given a green signal to the much-awaited big-ticket FDI proposals in railways. He has given nod for setting up diesel and electric locomotive parts in Bihar at a cost of 2,400 crore rupees under Prime Minister Make in India initiative. The estimated cost of the factories is about 1,200 crore rupees each. The financial bidding for these two plants will be opened on 31st of August. Rain and snowfall continue to hamper daily life in Jammu and Kashmir. The Jammu-Srinagar National Highway was closed following a fresh landslides at several places. Air traffic also remains suspended due to fresh rainfall since last night. Adverse weather also is forecast for the next 2 days in the valley. And on to to international news. Well, it is exactly 1 year today since Malaysian Airlines flight MH370 was lost, leaving no clues as to what happened to the plane and its passengers, despite intense searches by various countries. The interim report published by the Malaysian authorities today also seems blank on the mystery, as the Malaysian Prime Minister said that his country remains committed to the search. Now, relatives of the missing passengers and crew held remembrance ceremonies.
A year has gone by, yet what happened to MH370 remains a mystery. Hope against hope is all these people have to hold on to.
有关当局能出示给我们看，我不相信这么大一架飞机坠落在南印度洋，没有任何残骸，没有行李，没有尸首。
There are plenty of people who've said, "Come on, Sarah, just, he's not coming back. Give in to the truth and just move on with your life." But I'm not ready to do that because there isn't any proof.
It can't be the never-ending story. we've got to find out.
Malaysian officials have released a 500-page interim report detailing the inroads and setbacks in the investigation so far. The report says the battery on the beacon of the flight data recorder has expired, suggesting that chances of locating the aircraft are dim. It reports no unusual behavior among the pilots or the cabin crew.
Steps taken will also include further validation of the factual information on emergence of new evidence.
Australia and China say the search will not be called off completely. Expert analysis of the radar and satellite data indicates that the plane went down somewhere in the southern Indian Ocean.
Well, it can't go on forever, but as long as there are reasonable leads, the search will go on. We've got 60,000 square kilometres that is the subject of this search. If that's unsuccessful, there's another 60,000 square kilometres that we intend to search. And as I said, we are reasonably confident of finding the plane.
Beijing-bound Malaysia Airlines flight MH370 vanished from the radar screens shortly after taking off from Kuala Lumpur on March 8, 2014, with 239 passengers and crew on board. 1 year on, what we know about the fate of MH370 is very little, making it history's one of the greatest mysteries. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And in what could come as a boost to Sino-Indian ties, China today said that its border disputes with India have been contained. Now, Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi said this on the sidelines of the National People's Congress today. He even went on to say that the Indian elephant and the Chinese dragon should do more to strengthen the bilateral cooperation. Yi also extended a hearty welcome to Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who is expected to make his first visit to China later in May. Officials said that efforts are on to hold the 18th round of boundary talks between India and China later this month.
当前中印边界谈判正处于量变的激烈当中，犹如登山，虽然辛苦，但走的是上坡路。这就尤为需要我们把中印合作发展得更好。
And some more international news and updates in our special segment, Global Buzz. Islamist militant group Boko Haram has sworn allegiance to Islamic State in an audio message published online. The 8-minute speech was published on a Twitter account used by Boko Haram and subtitled in English, French and Arabic. The video script identified the caliph as Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, who is the leader of the Islamic State and self-proclaimed caliph of the Muslim world. At least 58 people have been killed and 139 others injured in 3 blasts in Maiduguri in Nigeria's northeast. Many children are among the dead in the explosions that hit 2 crowded markets and a busy bus station. There was no immediate claim for the bombings, but they bore the hallmarks of the Islamist group Boko Haram. Pro-Russian rebels in eastern Ukraine say that they have fully removed heavy weapons from the front line. Observers from the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe, or the OSCE, are monitoring the ceasefire that was agreed in Minsk on 12th of February. As per the agreement, the two sides are due to create a buffer zone between them of at least 50 kilometers. China has defended construction of major infrastructure projects in the disputed islands and reefs of the South China Sea and said that it was merely building facilities in its own yard. Now, Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi defended his government's controversial policy of reclamation on disputed islands in the South China Sea, which has sparked regional concern. Yi added that Beijing was not seeking to overturn the international order. A 41-year-old Indian IT consultant was brutally stabbed to death in Australia today. Prabha Arun Kumar was killed just 300 meters away from her home. Now, police officials say that she was on the phone talking to her family when the horrific incident took place. Australian police officials are investigating the case. They are yet to ascertain the reason for the murder. All right, another short break here. Coming up ahead, all the news from the Cricket World Cup. Stay tuned. Welcome back after the break and news from the Cricket World Cup now. Well, New Zealand continued their winning streak in the World Cup as they beat Minnows Afghanistan by 6 wickets in a Pool A match at Napier. In the other match, Australia defeated Sri Lanka by 64 runs to go second in the group. Here is a report.
Oh, that's close. Really close. He's gone first ball.
After 4 successive wins in the World Cup, in-form host New Zealand were looking to ensure zero complacence against Minnows Afghanistan. Batting first, the World Cup debutants were reduced to 59 for 6 before Samiullah Shenwari and Nazibullah Zadran scored half-centuries to help them reach a total of 186.
Yes, you betcha, up on the roof.
Spinner Daniel Vittori took 4 wickets, becoming the first Kiwi bowler to take 300 wickets in one-day internationals.
He's gone first ball.
In reply, opener Martin Guptill made 57 and skipper Brandon McCullum hit a rapid 42 from 19 balls.
Classic style from McCullum.
The Black Caps cruised home with 13.5 overs to spare, making it 5 wins in their 5 games.
It's always a good wicket here. I think if you can restrict teams to under 300, traditionally you've got a chance of winning. So I think we went into it thinking it was going to be a tough day, no matter whether we bowled or batted first.
In the other Pool A match today, Australia beat Sri Lanka by 64 runs. Batting first, Australia scored a mammoth total of 376 runs. Glenn Maxwell scored the second fastest century of the World Cup in just 51 balls.
101, his first one-day 100 for Australia.
Captain Michael Clarke, Stephen Smith and Shane Watson also chipped in with half-centuries.
Will bring up his 50.
Sri Lanka in reply started the chase well with Dilshan and Sangakkara combining for a 130-run second wicket partnership. Sangakkara went on to make his 3rd consecutive century in the World Cup, also getting past 14,000 runs mark in ODI.
Hundreds on the trot for Kumar Sangakkara, first man in World Cup history.
Lower down the order, Chandimal scored a quick-fire 50, keeping up with the asking rate. But he was retired hurt, and that virtually ends Sri Lanka's chance to win the match.
It was a lot of fun. It was nice having a good wicket to play on out there, and the top order set it up absolutely beautifully for us. It was basically, I suppose, the blueprint for what we should probably model our one-day game on, and top order did a great job and set it up for us.
The win puts Australia at the 2nd spot in the table with 7 points from 5 games, while Sri Lanka is 3rd with 6 points. Bureau Report, Sabha TV.
All right, let's take a look at the points tally after today's matches. So, well, talking about Pool A first, New Zealand top this group with 5 wins from 5 games. Australia are at the 2nd place with 7 points. Sri Lanka are the next with 6 points, with England at the 5th place with only 1 win from 4 games. Now, Scotland at the bottom with no win in the tournament. Now, in talking about Pool B, well, India are at the top with 4 wins from 4 games, followed by South Africa, Pakistan and Ireland with 6 points each. West Indies are at the 5th place with 4 points. UAE is at the bottom with no win in the tournament so far. And it was a heartbreak for Indian fans as Saina Nehwal lost the final of the All England Badminton Championships. Well, Spain's Carolina Marin became the first Spanish player to win the event. Marin won the match 16-21, 21-14, 21-7. Now, Saina dominated the first game by taking it 21-16. But in the second game, Marin was down 6-10, but she romped home 21-14. In the third and the final game, Marin dominated right from the start. Though Saina's unforced errors also made the difference, and she won. Carolina Marin won the third game 21-7. Now, Saina had lost in the All-England semi-finals in 2010 and 2013. She had made it to the finals for the first time. Now, this was Saina's first defeat against Marin in 4 meetings. Marin is also the reigning world and European badminton champion. And now some news from domestic cricket. The Ranji Trophy final between Karnataka and Tamil Nadu started at Wankhede Stadium today. On the first day, Tamil Nadu were bowled out for just 134 runs in their first innings, with none of the batsmen actually managing to score even a half century. Vinay Kumar took 5 wickets for Karnataka, while Mithun took 3 wickets. Karnataka also had a poor start of their innings as they lost quick wickets to end the day at 45 runs for the loss of 4 wickets. Now, Balaji took 3 wickets for Tamil Nadu. Well, that's all in this edition of News Tonight. Thanks for watching. Good night.